الحمد الحمد لله الذي خلق السماوات والأرض وجعل الظلمات والنور ثم الذين كفروا بربهم يعدلون. الحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. لقد جاءت رسل ربنا بالحق. So today we're class 6, right? Yeah, MashaAllah. So, Alhamdulillah, we ask Allah Ta'ala to put it on our scales and accept it from us. We've completed a complete surah, uh, 40 ayat, and in less than 40 days. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. And now we're beginning another surah of the Quran, Surah Al-Naziyat. So that's Naba, the first surah in Juz Amma. And Juz Amma was named after the first word in the first ayat in Juz in that surah. And this surah, Surah Al-Naziyat, consists of 46 ayat. 46 ayat now. And Nazi'at was revealed in Mecca. You're going to find that most of the chapters in the back of the Quran were revealed in Mecca. The shorter chapters revealed in Mecca, and they're going to be dealing with Aqidah for most of the part, how we're supposed to believe. Nah. Surah Al-Nazi'at. So it says, Min maqasid al-surah, from the intended benefits of the surah, the chapter, قلع القلوب المكذبة بالبعث والجزاء, is in order to put fear or compel the hearts that deny, that are in denial about the resurrection. So now it's carrying over from Naba. Naba, they asking, what is this great news? Talking about the day of judgment. Nazi'at is carrying on. If we were to ponder over the verses that we went over in Naba, the 40 verses, and talking about everything that Allah did, how He made us in pairs, and He made the sky a firmament, He made the mountains the way He made them, and He made the vegetation growing like that. And then Allah Ta'ala said, so when the heavens are open, and the trumpet is blown, and all of those things, and the punishment of the disbelievers, and the reward of the believers, and no one will be able to speak. And on the day of judgment, the kafir will say, I wish I was thus. So now is referring to those same incidents. Abasa also is going to refer to those same incidents. So you're going to see from Naba, Nazi'at, and Abasa is going to mention many things that we should look at as human beings that will make us believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and not deny the day of resurrection. And each of them end with the day of resurrection. We ended in Surah Al-Naba, the day that the Jibreel alayhi salam and the angels will stand in ranks, and no one will be able to speak except whoever permitted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ar-Rahman, and He will only say that which is the truth. That is the day of reality, the day of truth, the day that man will look at what his hand set on before him, and the kafir will say, I wish I was dust. When you see the animals turned into dust that were here in this dunya, turned into dust, they will not be rewarded nor punished. So now we're going to get a similar effect in this. Allah is going to mention the incident from actual individuals of the past, being Fir'aun and Musa alayhi salam. Nah. So the hearts that are in denial about the resurrection and the reward or the recompense, يوم القيامة, من خلال عرض مشاهد الموت والبعث والحشر والقيامة. And it's going to be done by Allah presenting situations that point to death, resurrection, the gathering of the people, and the day of Qiyamah, the day of standing. So Allah says, وَالنَّازِعَاتِ غَرْقًا. أقسم الله بالملائكة التي تجذب أرواح الكفار بالشدة والعنف. So Allah Ta'ala here is swearing by the angels. And nazi'at, and naza'a means to strip, to pull something violently, or to strip something. Even to say that two people that were very close together, and then you see that they're not speaking anymore, they say, kana bainhum naza'a, that it was something that broke them apart. They had a naza'a, they had an issue that caused them to split. Allah said, when nazi'at, the angels, by those angels who violently rip out the souls of the disbelievers. أقسم الله بالملائكة التي تجذب أرواح الكفار بشدة والعنف. Allah swears by those angels who were appointed to remove the souls of the disbelievers sternly and violently. Now, and there are hadith that point to the fact that when an individual dies, that the angels come while the soul is leaving his body, and they sit at the head of this individual. And if he was a person of evil, then they, yell at him and violently pull his soul out. Come out, you despicable soul, come out. And as for the believer, then they extract the soul gently. They extract the soul gently, as what comes in the next ayah. وأقسم الله تعالى والناشطات نشطا. ناشطات نشطا، الناشطة. وأقسم بالملائكة التي تستل، نعم، أو تستل أرواح المؤمنين بالسهولة ويسر. And then Allah Ta'ala swore by the angels who extract. So this one is being pulled out, snatched out, the disbelievers. Extract the souls of the believers with gentleness and ease. With gentleness and ease. And I don't know if anyone, basically maybe been in the service or lived in an urban area. I don't know if anyone's ever seen death before. I'm not talking about a dead person, but have seen someone's soul leave their body. But I was tested with that when I was 18. A close friend of mine died in my arms. And this was one of the things that Allah guided me to Islam with, that when I read in Surah Al-Waqi'ah, the way Allah Ta'ala described the soul leaving the body. I was in this situation. It's no way I could have described the way the whole situation, the way he was dying, the way he was moving, and eyes going in his head, all of that is described in Surah Al-Waqi'ah. So when I read that, I said, this cannot be the words of a human being. Not be the words of the human being. Allah said, حَتَّى إِذَا بَلَغَتِ الْحُلْقُومِ. Nay, when the soul of the dying person reaches his throat. And this was, and even in the translation, was weighty to me because I remember talking to him and trying to revive him. And he never spoke. He was shot. He never spoke. But as I was talking to him, he began to make a noise like that. So when I read, when the soul of the dying person reaches his throat, I saw it on movies, right? Especially especially karate movies, right? You know how long they take to die on the karate movies. They fall, they go all the way to the next village before they finally die. Those karate movies are funny. But the resemblance to what they show in movies, and then to sit there in reality, and I had him laying on my lap, and I was trying to give him mouth to mouth, and I was talking to him, and then first he was just silent, and I just talking to him, but he was breathing, and then suddenly he started making and then his back lifted up like that, and then after that, when he came down, his eyes went up in his head, and subhanallah. So when I read حتى إذا بلغت الحلقوم, nay, when the soul of the dying person reaches his throat. And in Surah Al-Qiyamah, Allah Ta'ala said, حَتَّى إِذَا بَلَغَتِ التَّرَاقِيَ وَقِيلَ مَنْ رَاقٍ. This is exactly how we were. He said, nay, when the soul of the dying person reaches his collarbone and its exit. وَقِيلَ مَنْ رَاقٍ. And then the people scream, get a doctor, get a doctor. And this is exactly what we were doing. His brother, his name was Matthew, his brother Eli was standing at a distance. And, the children in the neighborhood were standing around. And everybody's like, call an ambulance, call the cops, call an ambulance. Everybody's screaming. Exactly how Allah described what happens in the Quran. So when I read that as a kafir, at the time, I was like shocked that that detail was present. And what I didn't understand was going on. Because I was an atheist, at that point. And then Allah said, وَأَنْتُمْ حِينَئِذٍ تَنْظُرُونَ. And you, while this is taking place, you're standing there looking, just looking on. وَنَحْنُ أَقْرَبُ إِلَيْهِ وَلَكِنْ لَا تُبْصِرُونَ. But our angels are closer to him, but you can't see them. فَلَوْلَا إِن كُنْتُمْ غَيْرَ مَدِينِينَ. So if you're true in your claim that you will not be resurrected, تَرْجِعُونَهَا إِن كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. Then put the soul back in the body if you're truthful. SubhanAllah. Put the soul back in the body. So this lets us know when we read these ayat that if we cannot, and we are in a position of strength, if we cannot stop the soul of our loved ones from leaving their bodies, what makes us think we're going to stop ours? Because when your soul is leaving, you're weak. That's it. Yet you can't get any weaker than this at this point, with your soul leaving your body. So now, if we're true in our claim, alhamdulillah, we're not from those who make that claim. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, sister Kira, Maklima, everyone else. So if a person at his weakest state cannot if a person in a state of strength and he sees the person that he loves at his weakest state, and if it was the whole family, everybody that loved this individual can't stop that soul as much as they don't want him to die, cannot stop that soul from leaving. So what's the case when it happens to the person himself? In the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said the angel of death visits every home every day and promises them that I will be coming. Visits every home every day and promises to people, I will be coming. And then when he comes and he takes a soul and the people become discontent and they're crying, he said to them, don't cry and don't be discontent. This is something that was decreed to happen and I will be back. He said, don't cry, don't be discontent. This is something decreed to happen and I will be back. La ilaha illallah. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah, Sister Nicole. So we'll stop at those ayat. If there's any questions or statements, we'll take them now. If not, we'll stop here. الحمد لله. هذا صلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.